what are your thoughts on possibly Jim Harbaugh going to the Raiders?
And let's say all things being equal, meaning I don't necessarily have some great desire to live in Las Vegas or my family, or that there's nothing on the periphery that is keeping me close to Michigan or pushing me away. So let's consider that all neutral, that it's all about football and it's not about money. Let's say the money's exactly the same. It's all about football, assessing where do I want to be from a football standpoint. What I'd be asking myself if I was Jim Harbaugh is, what we just pulled off in 2021, am I going to be able to do that on a fairly regular basis? Of course, there's a team to the south that can challenge that. So it's not like, I don't think anybody expects Michigan to win the Big Ten like 8 out of the next 10 years, but where we are seriously challenging all the time, and I'm winning my share of Big Ten championships and getting to the playoffs. Do I reasonably think that that's in my future here? And based on getting my head kicked in by 23 points, and it was much worse than that in the playoff, do I think that I can elevate this program to where, even if I am getting to the playoff, I don't want to be a national embarrassment every 2 or 3 years, losing on a national stage and getting my head kicked in. So can I elevate the program to compete with Alabama and Georgia and whomever else is going to be on that stage? That's the question I would be asking myself. And if I could be honest with myself and say, I think I've taken this about as far as I can. I just don't have enough football players in this state and in this region, and I can only draw so many out of Texas and Florida and California, then I'm going to move on.
Okay. And do you think the Raiders being a dysfunctional program or a football team as of lately has any impact on the decision?
So the Raiders have a history since the beginning of time. I think it's just it's in the genes. And of course, Al Davis's son is running the Raiders. So it's ingrained in the franchise that you got to take the good with the bad. There's lunacy, but at the same time, there's obviously a winning tradition at various times in the past. Okay. Aside from the John Gruden situation, and of course that's isolated, that was all him. He's gone. Do we know that this is a dysfunctional franchise right now? Otherwise,
well, they don't have a GM and they don't have a head coach. I would consider that pretty dysfunctional.
Well, if you fire a coach, you don't have a coach. So that's fairly common practice. But yeah, typically you want to hire the GM before the coach. And I understand. I didn't know exactly why they fired Mike Mayock. He seemed to be doing a pretty good job. They just went to the playoffs.
I don't know, to be honest with you. And they got very passionate. They probably have the second or third most passionate fan base in the entire NFL. Mm-hmm. And they're always the villains. So I'm not sure do you think that villain role would suit Jim Harbaugh?
Jim Harbaugh is not a villain of sorts in any kind of menacing way. He's just kind of an oddball villain.
That's a good way to put it, Mark.